Hey, so we are hearing about oil even more these days, and every time we fill up a gas tank, we are pumping something that took hundreds of millions of years to make. The name fossil fuel tells us it is old, but most of us never think about why it formed or how it got there. The reason it exists at all comes down to one thing this planet has always had in enormous supply: water. The fossils we are speaking about are not unlike the ones we learned in grade school when we were fascinated by dinosaurs and their story. These are preserved remains of ancient microscopic life, plankton, algae, and bacteria that lived in oceans and lakes, died, sank to the bottom, and were buried under layer after layer after layer of sediment over millions of years. The organisms in those ancient oceans and lakes were different species than what we have now, but pressure, heat, and time do not discriminate. As each new layer of sediment piled on, the material was pushed deeper towards the Earth's interior heat. And in that specific zone of depth and temperature, something important happened. That ancient organic matter stopped decaying and started transforming into what we now know as oil. And the dinosaurs, they were alive while some of that process was still happening. They just were not the main source of it. The organisms that made most of our oil were already gone long before the first dinosaur showed up. Natural gas came from the same process, just pushed deeper and cooked at higher temperatures until it broke down into something lighter. The amount of ancient life required to produce what sits underground today is staggering. Trillions of organisms over time scales we cannot make sense of. We spend hundreds of millions of years storing it, and at current consumption rates, known reserves give us roughly 50 more years. However, we have been saying that same line, 50 more years, for perhaps 50 years. And that's a real thing. That's all I got for you today. Just this nugget along the way.